No one will dare disrespect you after this. What if the most powerful way to earn respect is to never ask for it? Imagine walking into any room and commanding silence, without raising your voice. Without proving a thing, just your presence, and they feel it. Most men are loud, but the man everyone listens to is the one who doesn't need to speak. We grow up believing that respect must be earned through achievement, appearance, or dominance, but the truth is far more subtle, far more powerful. Respect isn't something you shout for. It isn't something you demand, manipulate, or beg to receive. It's something you command, without words, through your presence, your stillness, and the way you hold yourself when no one is watching. It begins in silence. Real respect comes not from what you say, but from how you move, how you choose to respond or not respond when the world tries to provoke you. And here's a truth few men truly grasp. Respect flows not toward those who seek it, but from those who already possess it within themselves. Let's be honest, most men are reactive. Someone insults them, and they flare up, shouting, swinging, defending. Someone questions their worth, and they scramble to prove themselves, to explain, to justify. But this reveals something deeper, a weakness. Because the very act of reacting is an admission. You got to me. You rattled me. You matter enough to disturb my peace. That's not power. That's not strength. That's not respect. True strength is stillness. It's silence. It's the man who doesn't blink when others test him. It's the one who walks away not because he's afraid to fight, but because he knows he doesn't have to. The Stoics, those timeless architects of inner mastery, understood this well. They didn't chase applause. They didn't argue with fools. They didn't need to win debates with men who were never worth their words. They simply stood, rooted like an ancient oak, unmoved by the winds of opinion, insult, or flattery. It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Those words, from Epictetus, still echo through the centuries. Let them echo in you. A man who fears disrespect is already under the control of others. He is owned by opinions, a slave to perception, always asking, what do they think of me? Do they see me? Do they approve? But the moment you chase that approval, you give away your power. You hand it to those who haven't earned it. Let me ask you, why do the opinions of the weak disturb you? Why do you care for the judgment of minds that haven't built what you've built? Suffered what you've suffered, earned what you've earned. Think about it. When has a man truly at peace within himself ever wasted energy on the noise of the crowd? Never. Let's break it down. The weak man seeks approval. The strong man stands alone. Picture this. A man walks into a room, scanning for eyes to meet, for nods of acknowledgement. He adjusts his posture based on how others look at him. He laughs too hard. He speaks too much. Why? Because inside, he's begging to be seen, to be valued, to be validated. That's weakness dressed in a suit. The strong man? He enters the same room, and he's not looking outward. He's not chasing the gaze of others. His energy is focused inward. He doesn't posture, doesn't perform. He just is. And ironically, that's when every head turns. That's when silence falls. Because people can feel it. That calm, that confidence, that untouchable presence. The man who respects himself has no need to chase respect from others. And that alone is why they give it to him. You see the paradox? The more you need validation, the less you get it. The less you care for it, the more it finds you. Control your reaction. Control their power. Let's be clear, disrespect is a test. Always. When someone throws shade, when someone mocks, when someone raises their voice or tries to provoke, they are handing you a challenge. Not to your fists, not even to your words, but to your self-control. And the man who is weak, he always takes the bait. He reacts, he explodes, he lashes out, he thinks he's defending himself. But all he's doing is showing his cards. His fear, his insecurity, his inability to control the one thing that actually matters, his response. Marcus Aurelius said it best, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. When you master your reaction, you master everything. Let them insult you. Let them whisper behind your back. Let them try to bait you with petty words. You remain unmoved, because the moment you react, you hand them your power. And worse, you show them they matter. But when you remain still, when you don't flinch, when you walk away with a slight smile and a deeper calm, that's when they realize they never had any control to begin with. Presence speaks louder than words. You don't have to be the loudest man in the room to be respected. In fact, the loudest man is often the most ignored. It's the quiet one, the one who doesn't speak unless it matters, who holds the room. His presence alone speaks volumes. His silence makes others uneasy. Not because he's cold, but because he's focused. He doesn't need to perform. He simply lives by principles. Quietly, consistently, unapologetically. And that's terrifying to people who live for external validation. So they'll test you, try to poke holes, try to spark a reaction. Not because they think you're weak, but because they fear you might be strong. Because your composure reminds them of what they lack. That's when you must remain stillest. You don't owe them a reaction. You owe yourself peace. Self-respect is the root of all respect. Here's a truth that changes everything. If you don't respect yourself, nothing else matters. Not money, not looks, not power, not followers, not fame. You'll always feel like you're chasing something, trying to fill the void of your own doubt. And you'll keep losing your power to the opinions of people who have no business sitting at your table. But when you cultivate respect from within, when you do the hard work, face your demons, stay true to your values, and become a man of principle, you begin to radiate something different. Something rare, something real, and real always recognizes real. So what does all this mean for you? It means the next time someone tries to disrespect you, don't react, don't explain, don't shrink, don't try to prove anything. Stand, breathe, look them in the eye if you must, or simply walk away. But whatever you do it from a place of grounded power. Because the one thing you must never give anyone is control over your emotions. Let them throw stones. You're not made of glass. Let them scream. You speak in actions. Let them mock. You move in silence. And as you do, the world will watch, and they'll wonder how a man like you exists in a world so loud, so reactive, so desperate to be seen. They'll respect you, even if they never say it out loud. Especially if they never say it out loud. Now that you've begun to understand what real respect is made of. Let's go deeper, because the next question becomes, what happens when you stop reacting and start becoming untouchable? In the last part, we uncovered a powerful truth. The moment you react, you surrender your power. Now let's dive deeper, because silence isn't just a pause, it's a strategy. Stillness isn't passivity, it's precision. And when you remain unmoved, when you don't flinch, when their words crash against you like waves on stone, You don't just protect your power, you expose their weakness. Think about it. Someone throws an insult your way. They expect a reaction. That spark in your eyes. That twitch in your jaw. That shift in your voice. But you give them nothing. Not anger. Not defense. Not a single ounce of attention. What happens then? Their insult hits air. Their words float and vanish. There's no emotional fire for them to feed on. No spark to ignite the drama they so desperately want. And in that vast silence, that calm, indifferent, heavy silence, they begin to feel something far more painful than anger. They feel small, they feel exposed, they feel their own insignificance reflected back at them. Because when someone insults you and you don't even blink, it tells them something louder than any scream ever could. You're not worth the energy. This is the beginning of true mastery. And now we arrive at the third truth. Mastery of self is the highest form of power. You see, most men chase the illusion of power. They lift weights, chase money, sharpen their words, build influence, but they neglect the most powerful weapon of all, the ability to master their own mind. Marcus Aurelius once said, "A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions." Let that sit for a second. Because too many men have ambition, but no discipline. They want respect, power, legacy, but they haven't mastered the foundation, themselves. Power isn't loud. It's not aggressive. It's not something you throw around to intimidate. Power is still. Power is silent. Power is having full command over yourself, your thoughts, your impulses, your emotions. And a man who lacks that control, he may appear dominant in the moment, but deep down, he's fragile. He is always just one insult away from losing composure, one failure away from breakdown, one disagreement away from chaos. That's not strength. That's volatility. But the man who has mastered himself, he's untouchable. He walks slowly. He speaks rarely. But when he does, everyone listens. He doesn't chase validation. He doesn't seek applause. His actions, his presence, speak on his behalf. He proves everything by proving nothing. Because when you are truly grounded, when your confidence is built on action, not approval, the world bends around you. People sense it, they feel it, and most importantly, they respect it, not because you demanded it, but because they see in you something they haven't yet found in themselves. When you walk this path, the path of self-mastery, you become something different. You radiate calm in a world addicted to chaos. You project certainty in a world drowning in doubt. And when people see that in you, they no longer test you, because deep down, they know they've already lost. Now we reach the fourth truth. Make them feel small, without saying a word. Let that sink in, because a fool talks too much. A coward hides in silence. But the wise listen. Carlos Ruiz Zafón once wrote, "Fools talk. Cowards are silent, the wise listen, and those who listen, who stay still and unbothered, carry a power that those who yell never will." In a world where everyone is talking, posting, reacting, commenting, shouting, those who can sit quietly, observe deeply, and act with precision are the ones who rise above the noise. So when someone disrespects you, don't raise your voice. Don't argue. Don't explain. Don't defend. Just look at them, unimpressed, unbothered, uninterested. Don't roll your eyes. Don't smirk. Don't scoff. Just observe. And in that silence, something begins to happen. They feel their own foolishness. They feel the emptiness of their words. They realized their insults had no power. Their manipulation failed. Their attempt to provoke collapsed. Because the greatest embarrassment for a weak man is realizing that he has no effect on a stronger one. And it destroys them. You see, there's nothing more unsettling to an insecure person than facing someone who doesn't care what they think. Someone they can't rattle. Someone who won't play their game. Someone who doesn't fight in the mud because he's too busy building mountains. Now, for the fifth and final truth of this path, the world bows to the man who needs nothing. Let that echo in your mind for a moment. Because we live in a world of need. Need for attention. Need for validation. Need for praise. Admiration. Recognition. Likes. Views. Applause. Everyone wants something. And that makes everyone vulnerable. But there's one man who rises above all of that. The man who wants nothing. He doesn't beg. He doesn't chase. He doesn't seek approval. He simply is. And that is a man the world cannot control. Because control only works on the needy. But what do you give the man who needs nothing from you? What can you take from him? How do you threaten him? How do you manipulate him? You don't. He is free. He is powerful. He is the storm, and no storm explains itself. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, once said, "The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength." So ask yourself, what rattles you? What triggers you? What are you still chasing outside yourself? And then ask the better question, what would it look like to let that go? Because when you do, when you cut the strings that tie you to the opinions, judgments, and manipulations of the world, you stand taller. You speak less. You radiate more. And people notice. They may not understand it. They may fear it, but they will respect it. To summarize these truths: 1. When you react, you lose. 2. When you're still, they collapse. 3. When you master yourself, you're untouchable. 4. When you say nothing, they hear everything. 5. When you need nothing, you own everything. So what now? Now you understand why respect doesn't come from others, it comes from within. You've seen how silence carries more weight than any argument. How calm is more intimidating than rage. How stillness reveals strength, and how detachment leads to real power. But there's still one final truth left to uncover. Because even when you've mastered yourself, even when you radiate presence, even when the world begins to bow, there's still something more to be said about legacy, purpose, and the mark you leave behind. And that's exactly where we go next. Just like we explored before, true strength doesn't come from noise or dominance, but from the quiet mastery of oneself. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength." And that calmness, that inner stillness, is not something you can buy, beg for, or borrow. It's built, brick by brick, in silence. Most people, they're desperate for approval. They want to be respected. They want others to acknowledge their worth, to tell them they're powerful, important, valuable. They chase likes, applause, compliments, and clout. But the man who is truly powerful, he needs none of that. He doesn't seek recognition. He doesn't ask for permission. He doesn't wait for someone to crown him worthy. He walks into the room carrying his crown within. He doesn't fear being disrespected, because he knows the truth. Those who matter will recognize his presence without him having to speak. And those who don't, they were never worth his energy anyway. There's a quiet confidence in that, a kind of presence that says, "I don't need you to see me, I see myself." And ironically, It's that very energy that forces the world to pay attention. Not because you shouted for it, not because you begged for it, but because you gave them no other option. If you've made it this far, then you already know what most never realize. Respect can't be demanded. It must be commanded. And the only way to truly command respect is to first master yourself. So if you're ready to build discipline that doesn't break under pressure, ready to rise above the noise and distractions that hold others back, then commit to this path. Subscribe, like this video, share it with someone who needs this reminder. And above all, stay focused, stay steady, because real power, it has always been, and will always be, from within.